Good afternoon, Michiganders. As the President said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises peace, not war. We are supporting Donald Trump because he promised to end war in the Middle East and Ukraine. The bloodshed has to stop all over the world, and I think this man can make that happen. I personally believe that God saved his life twice for a reason. I believe personally that God has saved his life for a reason, which is to save the lives of others. We support Donald J. Trump for his commitment to promoting family values and protecting our children's well-being, especially when it comes to curriculums and schools. We as Muslims support this man because we believe that he will be a president for all Americans, embracing every race, color, and religion. We are with President Trump because we want a strong border. And we agree with President Trump that anyone who wants to come to this country is welcome, but he has to do that through legal pathway. We are with President Trump because we want a strong economy. Don't you want that? We are with President Trump to make America great again through peace and justice for all. Lastly, Michiganders, I have two predictions for you for the next 6 months. Are you ready? Number one, the Detroit Lions will win the Super Bowl. Ready for the second prediction? I can't hear you. Are you ready? The second prediction is Donald J. Trump will be the 47th president of the United States of America. Okay? All right, God bless you all and God bless America.
Make America great again. It's very simple. I thought I'd tell you that little story because you'll never hear it from the fake news. They don't talk about it. They wouldn't tell you stories like that. So I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I think so. I think so. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, we will end inflation. And you know what? It's we, not me. We will stop the invasion of criminals into our country, and I will bring back the American dream for your children and for yourself. This is all you need to know. Kamala broke it. I will fix it. It's going to be very, very interesting. We'll fix it. You know, I've been watching what's happening. You know, you do know she's doing really badly, right? She can't speak. There's something wrong with her. We went through 4 years of that. We can't go through 4 more years of that. With your support on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and much stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Very good. And just so you know, this is it, because we're not going to be able to save it much. This is it. We've gone as low as we're going to go. We have to be able to save it. Any longer, you're not going to be able to save it. It's going to be gone, and we're not going to let that happen to this country. I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country. I'm asking you to dream big again for you and your family, your children. This is going to be America's new golden age. You watch. We're going to bring back those car companies to Michigan. They're going to come into Detroit. I've been hearing about promises for 40 years on Detroit. We're going to make the promise. You're going to have those car companies come roaring back through intelligent uses of tariffs, taxes, and incentives. Are all coming back. They don't come back, they're not going to be selling any cars in this country. Let me tell you right now. And I have to tell you, I just did something very big for Detroit and for Michigan. In particular, I killed the massive plants that were going to be built in Mexico. They're dead. They're all dead. And they were going to drive out all your damn business. They were going to take every one of yours. They were building the biggest plants in the world in Mexico. They were all, and you know who owned them? China. And they were going to flood our country with cars from just across the border, and I killed them. You know why I killed them? Because I said, we're not going to have it. I'm going to win, and I'm going to put tariffs on those cars, and those cars will never be able to pay the tariff because it would be too high. And they gave up on the project. They're not going to build the project. How good is that? And I'm not even in office. How about that? But we will be soon. So if I can do that out of office, think about what the hell I can do in office, right? And I'll tell you what, these are the biggest plants in the world. One of them is the biggest plant in the world by far. I think there's more business than your whole state would do with the autos. It's one of those things. And what I did is I said, there's no car coming in because they were going to just flood the whole nation. It would affect other states too, but I think of Michigan and I think of Detroit. It was going to end it. You've already lost 70% probably from the heyday. It's dead. And we're going to now build it up. You're going to be bigger and better with the industry than you've ever been, even in your heyday. I got a lot of friends here. I know half the people here. Your future senator, I hope. Mike, you got to win this thing. He's going to win. He's going to win. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is truly in your hands, Michigan. You have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris, the worst vice president in the history of our country. He's the worst president, and she's the worst vice president. They stole the election from this guy. They stole it. They said, you're out, Joe, you're out. Crazy Nancy, Schumer, all of them, they went in, you're out of here, Joe. No, I won 14 million votes. You know, he got 14 million votes. Kamala got no votes, and she took over. That's a threat to democracy, right? You know, to use that term. But you're going to tell Kamala Harris that it's going to start right here. You know, if we win Michigan, the whole deal is over. You know that, right? It's all over. You're going to say, Kamala, you're no good. You did a lousy job. You destroyed San Francisco. You destroyed California. You destroyed everything you touched. You're not going to destroy our nation. Kamala Harris, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. You're fired. All right, we got to get her the hell out. If she did to you what she did to San Francisco, you don't want to have it. She destroys everything. Not a good person either. You know, I see the ads she puts in. Like, I don't have to go into specifics. Anything I did, anything I say, she puts ads in, and we're mainstream. You know what we are? We're common sense. She will put an ad in saying the exact opposite of what I believe and what I've been saying for 20 years. She's changed 15 policies in order to be able to run. Like no transgender operations for people in detention upon will, paid for by the government. She changed like men and women's sports. She wants men to be able to participate in women's sports. No, she probably got rid of that. Like, no fracking. There would be no, for her whole life, she's no fracking. No oil and gas. We don't want oil and gas. So really, how are we going to get the cars to run? Well, we want to go a little bit further. How are we going to get them to run? All of these things. She's changed everything over the last year and a half because you can't get elected with that stuff unless you cheat, which is, you know, what they do, frankly. But you can't get elected. So she's changed every one of them. Remember this. Nobody can change like that. If you change one policy, one thing with me, I've been consistent. I saw on a fake news show today, I was watching, they said, well, one thing you have to say, he's been saying the same thing for 30 years. It's true. They can't steal your car business. They can't take your jobs. You got to stop. It's how I got into politics in the first place. But we're going to bring all those plants back. We're going to bring all those jobs back. And I've been saying that for her. She's never said that. But every single thing, and if you have her, it's not going to happen. I don't believe. Look, I'm not supposed to say this because you got to vote. If you don't vote, otherwise I'm not, we're doing really well. We're sort of way up. But I'm supposed to say, it's really tight. But you got to vote anyway. You got to vote. In fact, we have a chance of maybe doing something that nobody's ever done before politically in this country, at least not for a long time. But we have a chance. But Michigan, we win Michigan. We win the whole deal, and we make America great again. You got to get out and vote. Early in-person voting in Michigan is now open statewide, and I'm asking for you to go to votetrump.com right after this rally ends, and you're going to see something, but just go. Let me ask you, because you have the early vote, you know, it used to be you have one-day voting, paper ballots, voter identification. Today it's illegal, you know, the yes. How about this guy, Gavin Newsom in California? He just signed a bill making it illegal to even ask a person for voter identification. They want to put you in jail. That's the next step. No, we're gonna get this whole thing straightened out. It's crazy. You know what? Even the Democrats, it's just the politicians, the Democrats. You go to the Democrats, you take a Democrat, they don't want that. The people, the vote, they don't want that. They want to have voter ID. They want to have proof of your country. In other words, are you a citizen of the country? It would be nice to have, right? So, but Gavin Newsom in California, they signed. I didn't even believe it. I thought it was like an April Fool's Day. I said, are we in April by any chance? April Fool's Day. He comes out with a bill that you are not allowed to ask a person whether or not they have voter ID. If you do it, you have broken the law. Can you believe it? So you'll get arrested if you ask a person. This is where we're going. It's going to end, and it's going to end very quickly. So as you probably have been reading, we're setting records in the early vote in Michigan and in, I think, most of the other states. And you have until November 3rd to vote early. So you can do that. But the main thing is to go vote. You go vote if you want. How many people have voted so far? Okay, that's good. How many people are going to vote? So much for our early voting drive, right? By the way, I love that because we're already leading in the early vote, which is something no Republican has done in Michigan since they went to this ridiculous system. You know what the ridiculous system is? You have the rest of your life to vote anytime you want. Come on, the whole thing is good. We used to have one-day voting, voter ID, paper ballots. Prove that you're a citizen of the United States, please. And you know what? You'd had no problems. 9 o'clock, 9:30, you announce a woman. Somebody's unhappy and somebody's not, but there's no stuff going up to the sky, back, forth. And it would cost 8%. This is not the most important thing, but it's important. Paper ballots would cost 8% of what the machines cost. And paper ballots, how about these machines? They have the machines and they said, we won't be able to give you a vote for 6 days, right, on election night. We won't be able to give you a vote for 6 days with paper ballots. 10 o'clock in the evening, they announce. There's bad stuff going on. Why are we paying 10 times the cost for something that doesn't give you the vote for a long time? You see it all the time. They have states that are, say, we'll need a few more days. With paper ballots, you don't. France went to it. They had mail-in voting. They had all this stuff. And it was really working badly. It was corrupt. And they went to paper ballots, voter ID, same-day voting. They have one day. They had 39 million votes. At the end, they had a winner, they had a loser, and that was it. Everybody went home. That's crazy. And we're going to get it back. With your help 10 days from now, but there's a big lobby against it, a lot of money made with all of the contraptions that they have, a lot of money, not so much money made with paper. The paper is it's called watermark, it's very sophisticated, actually. It really prevents you from cheating. With your help 10 days from now, we are going to win Michigan, we are going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we are going to make America great again, and we are going to make Detroit great again, finally, after 45 years. We're going to make Detroit. I took a lot of heat because, I was up here at the Economic Club. That's when I was telling you about these massive factories in Mexico, owned by China, but massive factories. And I was here, and I wasn't that positive. I mean, they want me to say, oh, Detroit's great, oh, it's so great. It needs help. So I said, it needs help, and people said, oh, he wasn't positive. I can't be positive. I'll be positive within 2 years, I'll be positive. You'll see what positive is. But how the hell can you be positive? No, but that was where I called the gentleman, and I see him sitting there, the man who builds most of the auto plants. He's the biggest in the world, I guess. And I told him I wanted to see a plant 1.5 years ago. He said, okay, but I'll have to take you to Mexico. I said, I want to go to Mexico. I want to see one here. He said, we don't build the big ones here because you have a stupid head of the union. This guy is stupid. And you know what? We're leading with the rank and file of the UAW. You know that. We're leading by a lot. Because I'm going to bring your jobs back, and I'm going to end the electric mandate, all-electric mandate on day one, which is going to cause all of you to lose your job. You're going to build electric cars, and you're going to build all kinds of cars, except hydrogen. There will be no hydrogen cars. They tend to blow up, and once they blow up, you are not recognizable anymore. No, they say that's the hottest new thing, hydrogen. Does anybody they say it's so hot. The problem is, when it's not hot, it's bad. It's bad. So I don't want to do that. They say for the most part, for the most part, it's really wonderful. But when it goes bad, it's over. You're not recognizable. They call the wife, please come and inspect to see whether or not this is your husband. He's lying against a tree, and the tree has a lot of red on it. So we're not going to do hydrogen cars. Is that okay for everybody, right? These guys told me, we're working on the solution. Forget it. We got enough. For generations, this state was the world capital of automotive production and one of the great manufacturing centers in all of history. You know, you were the best. You were the best. But then a lot of bad things started happening 40 years ago, actually. But your politicians have done nothing. They were either stupid or corrupt, one or the other. They were both. But year after year, globalist politicians like Kamala Harris sold you out and let other countries loot and pillage and plunder your wealth and our jobs and our American dreams. 40% of Michigan auto jobs were annihilated after NAFTA. The worst trade deal ever made, and I ended it. I ended it with the USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada, so much better. And then they allowed China, in one of their brilliant moves, to enter as a growing, developing nation. You know, if you're a developing nation, you get all sorts of incentives, like things like that we have to do that they don't, including pay a lot of money. So China entered as a developing nation. Well, I think Detroit and some of our areas makes us a developing nation. China doesn't have any place like that. But they allowed them into the World Trade Organization. That did not work out too well for us, let me tell you, because they robbed us and ripped us, and I don't blame them. If they get away with it, but they didn't get away with it. You know, I charge them more tariffs than China has paid in 1,000 years. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars they paid $440 billion or so. You know how much your other previous presidents have gotten from China? Nothing, zero, not 10 cents, not even 10 cents. You know, the press challenged me. No, I think President so-and-so, I don't want to get into it. Oh, Obama did a horrible job. He got ripped. They said he'd come, he'd make a speech. By the way, I don't happen to think he's a good speaker, okay? I don't happen to think he's a good speaker, but he'd come, he'd make a speech, and he'd leave. They say other presidents came, they made a speech, and they left. They say Trump, he came, he looked at the books, he says, you people are being ripped off. Then he might have made a quick speech, and he said, I'll be back in 2 months, and that's what's happening. You have been ripped off. This state has been ripped off. The car business is coming back to this state, and in a short period of time, you're going to have more jobs than you had in its heyday. And it's not even going to be hard. Under Kamala, you know, I don't usually use the word Harris because nobody knows who Harris is. They go, Harris. People say, who the hell is Harris? You ever notice that, Mr. Congressman? They say, got all the genius congressmen over here. They're very good. We only let the good ones come. We have plenty of that we don't like too much. But when I say Harris, Harris has done a terrible job. Harris is grossly, nobody knows who the hell, right? It's true, isn't it crazy? Harris, who the hell is Harris? Under Kamala, the U.S. has lost nearly 50,000 manufacturing jobs this year alone. You didn't know that because the fake news, whoa, you got a lot of fake news. You got a lot of bad ones back there too. Whoa, that's a lot of fakers. You know, you think they'd want their credibility back. You know, when we show clips, they never showed. A friend of mine called up 2 weeks ago. He said, you know, I love your rallies, but I'd love to see. We do some really pretty good clips that are good up there, beautiful screen. So you take a look up there, take a look up there. No. So all they have to do is take the camera, go like this. 2 inches over, 1 inch. And the people at home can see it. Right? And the people then at home can see it. But they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. No, you watch. No, friends call up, they say, I love your speeches, but when they're playing the tapes, they never show it. All they have to do is turn the camera about an inch 2 inches over, 1 inch up. It goes like this. And they could see it, but they don't want to do that because they don't want to see it. They don't want to have people see it. U.S. car sales are down 38% since I left office. Good job. Good job, Joe, you sleepy guy. I almost said something bad. That would have. Oh, I was so close. I was so close. But I think of Franklin Graham. You know, Franklin Graham's a great guy. Does a great job with all of these horrible hurricanes and tornadoes and everything. And he said, he wrote me a beautiful letter. He said, President, I love your stories. You speak so well. I love it. It's so great. But, sir, it would be even better if you didn't use foul language. And I felt so guilty. You know, I felt like, oh, that's a kill. That was in the last paragraph. He's telling me how great. Then he said foul language. And I gave it a shot. You know, you lose a lot of emphasis. You know? And it's not real bad stuff, but you do. I said, Franklin, I think you're wrong. And I do it sometimes that way. And I haven't been able to get quite the same emphasis, but I feel better about myself. I almost blew it right there, almost. It would have been much better if I did, but then I would have had to report to a higher authority. But with victory in November, we are going to take back what is ours. Standing before you today, I am proclaiming that by the end of my term, the entire world will be talking about the Michigan miracle and the stunning rebirth of Detroit. We'll bring back the auto industry greater than it has ever been. I'm not saying a little bit. We're going to bring them back, and if they don't want to build their plant here, you know what they're going to do? They're not going to sell cars here. China will not be building those massive plants in Mexico. Vote Trump, and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs from Mexico to Michigan, from Shanghai to Sterling Heights, and from Beijing to Detroit.